And you are live.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody. We'll call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board. It is December 6th, 2023 at 7:04 p.m. Board members present tonight, we have Vice Chair Claire Conger, Ryan Chitwood, Dick Peterson. Also with us tonight, we have Deputy City Clerk Cynthia Gaines and Assistant City Attorney Joelle Braithwaite. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Has the board had the opportunity to approve our minutes of November 1st, 2023? And if so, do we have any additions, corrections, or modifications?
Move they be accepted.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, the minutes will stand as approved. Before we get on to our regular business, we'd state for the record that since this is a virtual hearing, members of the public cannot testify, but they can submit any comment that they would like on our website by going to www.annapolis.gov/ABC. All comments submitted will be addressed by the board as provided. So with that, we will turn over to our first item on our agenda. It's a show cause hearing. This is a show cause hearing regarding Sea Salt Restaurant LLC, trading as Sea Salt Restaurant, located at 1 Park Place, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. A request to appear to discuss a fourth extension of the approved alcoholic beverage license issued to Sea Salt Restaurant. So we'll pull everybody forward here. We'll hear what they have to say. Mr. Hogan, are you there?
He's muted.
Yeah, and he's got his camera off too.
I'm good.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right.
Thank you.
And it looks like we've got Mr. Lennon here too.
Yeah, he's in there somewhere. He should be waiting.
Okay.
Maybe he's on mute too.
Yeah, I'm here, guys.
Okay, great.
Okay. Mr. Lennon, can you get your perfect. Thank you. And it's just going to be the two of you tonight, right?
Correct. Our attorney may join, but not sure if he's in the background there or not.
Okay, gotcha.
I only have your names on the list. What's your attorney's name?
Chris Buck.
Okay, I see him, so I'll promote him now.
Okay,
All right.
great.
Thanks. Chris, you there?
I am, yes.
All right,
Sorry.
cool.
About that.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I'm just going to ask all of you to give us your name and address for the record. We'll start with Mr. Hogan, then go to Mr. Lennon, then Mr. Buck will give it to you, and you can kind of present your argument on why fourth extension should be granted, okay?
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hogan, name and address.
John K. Hogan, 162 Green Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
All right, Mr. Lennon.
Colin Lennon, 11 Brook Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
All right, Mr. Buck.
Christopher Buck, BUCK, 23 West Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
All right, go right ahead, sir.
If Mr. Chairman, if I could just make some very brief opening remarks, just providing the show cause hearing timeline that I would like to put out there, and then a very brief argument, and then I'll turn it over to the board for any questions. In January of 2022, a demolition permit supporting documents were submitted to the city of Annapolis by Sea Salt. During the same time, Sea Salt had applied for a liquor license, a transfer from what was, I assume, Fido, or a new license. Can't remember which, it's been so long. But on May 2nd, this board actually granted and issued or agreed to issue a liquor license to Sea Salt. In May of 2022, unbeknownst to Sea Salt, the city of Annapolis, whose permit office was still working remote, had basically lost all the documentation. We didn't know that. What happened would be the permits would come in and get piled on a desk, and then the actual permit office employees would come in and grab theirs and then take them home. We found out through the permit expediter that Sea Salt had hired to try and make everything go faster, somewhere in the June-July timeline, that the permits had been lost. They were resubmitted and then resubmitted again under the new electronic program that the city had implemented in the interim. So we thought that would happen pretty fast after the re-implementation. It did not. It was not until the beginning of October of 2022 that we actually received the first permit, which was just a demolition permit. Get rid of a wall so we can actually do the work. On November 2nd, this board of 2022 granted the first extension based upon the facts that I've just provided to you and the letters that we had previously provided to the board and the oral argument that we had given at a hearing. On January 27th, we wrote again to the board saying we needed some more time. Reason being, once we finally got that demo permit, we demoed and two things happened. One, there was a ton of damage that was found. The landlord had to get involved. And then there was a storm where not only did the landlord, but the landlord's insurer have to get involved. So that set us back a long period of time. Though February 1, 2023, we again showed up at a hearing and asked for another extension due to what had happened. And this board granted that extension. At the same time, we're ordering all types of equipment and trying to get work done. And we can't get that done until we get a building permit. We got the building permit March 23, 2023. So that brings us to today, really November 1, and then today. November 1, Mr. Hogan showed up at the last meeting and said, you know, these things have all really been out of our control. We need a little bit more time. And that's what brings us to how did this all take so much time? And it is all really born of the COVID pandemic. We had never experienced anything like this before. When we started the process, the pandemic still had a large portion of clearly the city working remotely. And for our purposes, the permit office certainly was working remotely, and things beyond our control, such as losing permits, applications, and not communicating that, were well outside of the control of CSOL. When they finally found out, and they had taken the step of asking an expediter to get involved, when they finally found out things were missing, they resubmitted. And we expected things to go really fast after that. They didn't. It wasn't until October that we got that first demo permit. Well, then labor, supply, and charges all become a problem. Supply chain charges. The value of the project goes up exponentially, and a lot of regrouping, redrawing, and reconfiguring had to take place. That's all taking place in real time where we still didn't have a building permit. So a full year and 3 weeks after you all issued the license, granted the license, we finally get a permit to actually build out. And now we're sitting here waiting for the stuff that has been purchased for the redesign that has already been done. The city has all of the drawings. Everything is in line to just go to the finish line, which is where we are now, expecting the delivery of equipment this month. Starting this week, we're expecting to get stuff in the door, have it put together, and have the city come out for a permanent and final inspection, we hope, so as to get a UNO. That's what we're looking at. So what is this? Why are we making this request, which the city code doesn't have a cap on the amount of extensions that we can ask for? Your guidelines do, and your guidelines are available. The city code allows the board to make guidelines, and the board made guidelines to be able to run the board the way they want it. We understand that. I believe, and I would argue on behalf of CSOL, that both of those, the code and the regulations, were born before COVID ever happened. And I don't think that they were born with COVID being in mind, that something like this, to the extent that it happened, could happen and have a ripple effect and a rolling effect on how long it could delay a project. This project has been delayed a long time. We don't want to be here having this conversation with you all, but we also want to impress upon the board that the downside for the board in allowing, I'm assuming for maybe the first time, another extension beyond 2, versus the downside and the damage to CSALT for having to go through a process of reapplying for a liquor license after finally being ready to be opened at the time where they would be picking up their liquor license would be so detrimental that that outweighs equitably the argument of saying our rules are our rules and we're not going to do this. We have what I had made the argument of akin to force majeure clauses in contracts. When something happens beyond a party's control and they can no longer perform as they have agreed to perform because it's impossible, the court provides leeway. And that's what we're asking for here. This board has great discretion based upon what its regulations and the law is to allow for another extension. And it doesn't have to be for 6 months. We're not asking for an ever extension. Mr. Hogan, in his provision to you of documentation and timeline, has said, we're really close. You know, we're looking at February, beginning of March, and we can get there. So I did want to mention, it's a case that I ran across and I thought the board would, I don't know, maybe find it cheeky or funny, but there is an old Maryland case where when there was the imposition of prohibition, a whiskey distiller laid off a whiskey distiller employee, and the employee sued him saying, I have an employment contract with you. And the employer said, it's impossible. I can't hire you and pay you anymore because I can't make whiskey. And the court sided with the employer and said, it's impossible. They can't perform. Therefore, we have to give them and afford them some leeway. And that's what we're asking for here. Again, the downside to the board versus the downside to the company, which is trying to be a good citizen and work with the city as opposed to be adversarial to the city, requests this relief. And that is all I wanted to convey to the board. I'll turn my time over to either John or Colin or any question.
Thank you, Mr. Buck. We'll see if Mr. Hogan or Mr. Lennon want to add anything, and then we'll see if the board has any questions. Do either of you gentlemen want to add anything to what Mr. Buck just said?
No, I think John, Mr. Buck summed it up pretty accurately. You know, and sadly, struggles of a small business trying to do the right thing and get open. But you know, we're as committed as ever, focused, and you know, we have equipment coming, just as Mr. Buck alluded to, and you know, we just want to get open. You know, unfortunately, has caused the delays that we've presented to you guys, and you know, I think we're in the home stretch here. We just again are asking for a little leeway so that we can continue to get open and get operational.
Yeah,
ahead,
thank
sure.
you, Chris and Colin, and thank the board as well for being here and having us again. This is an exciting project for us and the city. It's clearly been a long time, and I wanted to say that this project started 2 years prior to COVID. So in your knowing us, at least with this project, and we came to you for a transfer of liquor license in 2021, right? Or 22, I think it's 22. We had signed a lease beginning of April of 2020. So we'd been working on this deal for a long time with the prior entrepreneur that owned Fido's and the building, the Guardian Park Place, who owns the property. And the three of us had a lease set to start. Chris wrote the lease for us. I think it was April 4th of 2020. And of course, COVID was happening, unbeknownst to us all. So everybody in partner here has been working together. We came back to that lease in late of 2021 and formalized again, the second time, the same lease. So our struggle has been 4 years going, not just the sort of almost 2 years that we're in with you guys here. And we wanted to verify that. We wanted to share that with you. Chris really put out there quite succinctly our timeline and what we've done and where we're at. And then we wanted to leave it back to you with, obviously any questions to us and any thoughts on it. And we'll leave it in your best hands. So thank you for that.
All right,
Hey,
thank you.
Hey, Mr. Hogan, you submitted some pictures to Miss Gaines. Are these it looks like it's dated the 28th. So is this the current state of the space?
Yeah, for the most part.
And
Submitted a
so,
bunch.
and you are anticipating February, March completion now with schedules and things. You're in, with, like you said, equipment being received and the completion of this build out.
The
Okay.
GC is in coordination with the equipment company. We had to buy this is a pretty big project. Once, going back to sort of the demo stage, and when we started peeling apart the layers in this space, we discovered a lot of problems. And of course, us being the leaseholder and taking on that whole project to begin with, it's our responsibility, and we have a very good landlord there, and we've been working with them to take a relatively new space. I mean, that building was only built in 2000.
Yeah.
I think it opened 2008, if I remember correctly. When the year before I opened Level Restaurant, that building came to business. So we didn't expect a lot of the things that we pulled apart, and we actually revised the entire build plan, the permit set 3 times. From our original renovation of, hey, let's change the colors and let's do a few things, to we have some significant long-term problems with the actual space. It was not intended to be a restaurant per se when it was actually built. It was retrofitted after. These things are they're very complicated, and I could go into hours of details with them, which I don't want to bore you. But yes, the schedule is currently, we have 3/4. We have about $300,000 of brand new equipment. We have retrofitting the current space with a lot of stuff. That stuff has already begun to come into our distributor, which then will be installed by them, coordinating with the general contractor in the next 6 to 8 weeks. And then from there, really, it's finishing out those fixtures, those pictures that I showed you. It looks like a war zone. It's drywall and stuff everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like everything's down to the studs and.
Yeah. I mean, the floor's down
and
there.
It is.
We peeled up inches of floor above a floor. So yeah, we kind of pulled all that stuff back and then simplified it. So we're almost there, and we're excited to deliver this project to the city. So yeah, those are. I even included some of the drawings, I think, in there. We're happy to show you guys the renderings of the new space. It's all in the actual permit set. The vision of what it will be, the pre and the post. Maybe not all in pretty pictures, colors and stuff, but it's all in there.
Is anything changing about in terms of operation, ownership, or everybody who's on the original license continues to be involved in the business?
Correct.
In terms of sea salt, yes. Nothing has changed in terms of the previous operator was Fido.
No. I mean, in terms of what you guys applied for.
Currently, we applied for a transfer of liquor license. Colin Lennon is the sole name on that transfer. I believe I think it's just singular. But nothing else in the business structure has changed with us.
All right, Dick, go ahead.
When did your last extension expire?
I believe that was November 1st
Yeah, I think November 1st
of this year.
We had been in coordination with Sydney to pick up the license, and we had talked as far back as August, and we had a little bit of overlap and a little misunderstanding as to what pick up the license meant.
So if it expired November 1st and you didn't come back to the liquor board until when? November 23rd?
No, November 1st, a letter went to the liquor board that the same day as the meeting. And I believe that should be part of the record with the board.
Yeah, it is. We have Mr. Buck, we have a copy of the letter, and I believe it was on November 1st when we had that meeting, we decided we would call you all back for this meeting so that you could provide us with legal argument and with documentation and any photographs that you thought would be relevant to your request for this fourth extension. Because, I will tell you, I've been serving on this board for quite some time, and I think, if the board elects to move forward with an extension, it would be the very first fourth extension that I've ever seen for an establishment. And, I will say, I appreciate what you guys are doing here. I'd agree with Ryan, though. I mean, do you really think 3 months is realistic? I know everybody wants it to happen in 3 months. Everybody's begging for people to drop off equipment. But, I just, from what I can see from these photographs and knowing how busy the city is with inspections and what have you, I mean, do you really think March is a realistic time? Because if I'm just, speaking here, if the board grants this fourth extension, I don't think there's going to be room for round 5 on this. So I wouldn't want you guys to limit yourself only to 3 months. Again, something the board's going to consider, but my question is 3 months realistic based on the state now?
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable statement. And we'd rather be conservative. And there are still things out of our control. An example is our equipment schedule. We're still getting delays from manufacturers that we can't necessarily control. So, as an example, we have a $30,000 oven that's still not even guaranteed to be here in 8 weeks. So yeah, I think that needs to be made clear, and maybe that's part of this conversation and allowing for that. 3 months, we'd love to be open January 1st, but we know that's not going to happen. We know that we won't be ready for the city, even if the city is able to come to us tomorrow and give us an inspection. We understand there's delays. We understand there's backup of the city. We know all of our friends are in other projects, and we share all around. So we do understand that. And I think that needs to be made part of this conversation.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing to consider as well is it's prime time for people to go out of town and shut down for the holidays too. So that's going to take 3 or 4 weeks probably, right out of there. I'm sure your GC can be in there every day, but there are other people that you need to rely on who might shut it down till after the first of the year. So I want to make sure that you guys are spot on and you're realistic with 3 months is all you need.
I think that's an accurate timeline we've given you.
Okay.
If you're willing to give us, I don't know how that works in terms of, are you setting a date or whatever? But yeah, we'd love to have and probably need to have a cushion that makes sense.
Okay.
I don't know if Chris, you want to chime in on that. I don't know. Is it 6-month increments, 3-month increments, singular months?
No, it's within we're kind of, our rule section 2.9 says that you get 2 extensions for 6 months. We're beyond that now. So it's discretionary really. And I don't think the board wants to push this any later than we need to. And if the board does grant this extension, I'd be shocked if they would entertain a 5th extension. This is already almost setting precedent as a 4th extension. And I understand it's not your guys' fault. I'm not blaming anybody here. It's just, we can't extend these things on in perpetuity, right? So, I'm just trying to figure out what a reasonable time frame would be that you're requesting from the board.
So,
And if I can chime in for a second, I mean, if
Sure.
they're already set as 6-month increments, does that make sense? I mean, we're shooting and planning for being open as fast as possible. If we're built out and equipment's in and everyone's trained up and we're simply waiting on an inspection from the city that could carry out. I mean, we're going to try to pull every card and be in everybody's office every day at that point to say, hey, we need to get open, guys. Please get in as soon as you can. There are no guarantees certainly in life, but I think our realistic goal is good. But like John said, if there's a way if this is going to be our last extension, I don't know what the right ask is per se, but if 6 months have been the increments, and you guys are willing to grant another extension do we keep it at that 6-month extension period? And, our hope again is to be open in February, and we're coming in and getting it earlier than that, but at least that provides a buffer.
So what is a scenario where, I mean, I know this never happened before, and I've born and raised in Annapolis. I've been here all my life. I've never seen, a liquor license denied necessarily. But what's the scenario where a transfer expires and then we have to go through the whole process again to come back and apply for a new license in the space because it's deemed as the space per se, and then the business is holding that license? And then what is that, what's worst case scenario?
So we can't really provide you advice on that.
Yeah.
We're the administrative board that's hearing this extension request. I'm sure Mr. Buck, would be able to provide you that. But I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head with what you said. Just there, having to apply for a new license.
Right,
So,
and I just would want to say, number one, thank you, board, for even entertaining and having this show cause hearing. We appreciate it. The discretion of the board is what we're asking for. So I don't think the request was we want another full 6 months. That would be great. But what we're asking is for some discretion. We waited 10 months to get a demo permit that was beyond our control, and we would be 10 months ahead of where we are now, I hope, if we hadn't had to wait for that. And again, this all goes right back to the whole COVID experience, which just put the whole thing into a heap. So we're not asking the board to set new precedent. We're asking for its discretionary authority to be imposed.
I mean, we do have some insight into other projects in the city, and I don't know how close you guys are with them in the permit office, but without saying who they are, I can tell you that applications for occupancy and inspections are well 6 weeks behind. That's as of a week or two ago. So, if we're trying to project as accurately as possible, and we are ready for inspection, let's say February 1st, and we come to the city and say, hey, send us out your team, we're ready on XYZ day, and they don't show up for 8 weeks or 6 weeks or 4 weeks, that's a problem. I mean, that's some of the struggle or some of the timeline that we're dealing with, as everybody is dealing with, not just us, but every business, every city, every inspector, it's a little bit of both. So, I think that has to be accounted for in this whole conversation. Maybe it makes sense to say, yeah, okay, give us till May, or whatever the term is that makes the most sense.
yeah, I mean, your letter requests 6 months.
Yeah.
So, I was just trying to figure out what you would actually need realistically. But okay, all right. I think you've answered that question.
I think you guys have a pretty good.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I'm sorry to beat
overall
the
of where
point to
we're
death
at.
there.
Yeah.
All right, well, does
And I
anybody else
guess
have-
quite candidly for
Fine.
me is, obviously there's been other projects in the city that have completed. Obviously, I don't know that those folks had to and go through some of the same things you all did, paperwork being lost, and obviously you were transforming a really large space, and there's some other dynamics to what you all are doing. You clearly have a lot of time and treasure tied up into this project, and we're, certainly don't, for me, I understand going back to go and starting over is another cost incurred to you, and that's not the intention. It's just, to the chairman's point, if we say, hey, we're gonna give you another 6 months, it sounds like that's reasonable and you guys can get this done. So with that being said, I say we, make a motion to approve an extension.
for 6 months?
Yes.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any additional discussion?
I'm really bothered by this since we are setting another new precedent. We've gone through this several times before in the years I've been on the board. I have a problem when we're going outside our rules. So I'm against it.
All right, you're against it, so we have 2 in favor. I'll say aye as well, to extend it for an additional 6 months. So let me call the question. Okay, so that's aye, so we already called the question. Sorry. So we have 3 in favor, 1 against. It'll pass. You'll have another 6 months. And I would encourage you to get it done beforehand. I know you want to, and if you can, contact Miss Gaines to pick up the license as soon as possible. Because as I stated, I'm not sure the board will entertain another extension, but you have another 6 months based on the vote. Okay, guys?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
you,
Thank you,
guys.
board members. Thank you, Ms. Gaines.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Mr. Chair,
Cindy,
Yeah,
Happy
sorry,
holidays,
Cindy,
all.
go ahead. Oh, you just muted.
Sydney,
Sorry.
you're muted.
can
May
I
we
please
be
have a
excused?
specific date for the
Hold on
record?
1 second. What?
I need to have a specific date for the record, please.
Okay, 6 months from today,
So
May
June
May
6th,
6th.
May
May
6th.
6th.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. All right. You guys are all excused. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you all. Take care.
All right. Turning to some other business. The next item on the agenda, we have a request for an application for consumption of alcoholic beverages on city property at the Stanton Center with music to Jose Hernandez for a birthday party on Friday, December 8th, 2023 from 5 p.m. to midnight, located at 92 West Washington Street, Annapolis 21401. Let's see if we can get, I think. Mr. Hernandez, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Can you just give us your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Jose Hernandez, and I just well, I think when I'm applying, I used to live.
We
I
need
just
your,
moved this
sorry,
month.
Mr. Hernandez, hold on 1 second. We need your address too, okay?
Yeah, it's 810 Monroe Street, apartment 101 in Annapolis, Maryland. The zip code is 21403.
All right, go ahead. Tell us about your party.
I have a birthday party. It's my wife's birthday. This is the 10th year I'm doing this party every year for my wife. I do it last year too. This time I request a license for having, alcohol. We have a bartender already going to take care to serve the people. We expect we invite like 60 to 70 people, but I know sometimes they not always show up, but we expect maybe 60, 70 people we invite. I don't know how many they come, and we have or we're hiring already a security company too that will be there, and I don't know what else. You got any question for me?
Yeah, how many people under the age of 21 you gonna have at this one?
We invite, older people, like all 21, but I don't know if they take they son, or I don't know, but we not expect like younger people, but if they bring it, I don't know. We only invite like the people my age, like family mostly. But if they come, we like, I know we gotta take care that they don't drink alcohol. We only ask for ID at the you know when we serve the beer. This, like I said, this is 10 year I doing this party, and thanks God I never have problem, because I always watching, and I have other like my friend watching the party too all the time. My family, I got family that they help me to everything's going good.
Right, so you're hiring bartenders, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So they, obviously they understand that they should card anybody who looks to be under the age of 21, right?
Yes, we're gonna
Okay.
check that. Yeah,
All right. And you're keeping an eye on everybody too, right?
yeah, every
All
time.
right.
Yeah, every time. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for
Hernandez,
the board?
do you have security?
Yeah, we have security. It's a elite company. Yeah,
Elite?
yeah, elite company. Yeah,
Okay,
the 3 security gonna be there.
they're a good company.
Yeah, yeah, hiding them. Very good. Yeah, I always hiding them. This is the 5 years I hiding them. 5 years. I think, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Mr. Hernandez, have another good one. Okay. See you next year.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Next we have an open to the public event number 4 by the American Legion Post 141 Cook Pickney for a yard sale, which appears to have already happened, scheduled Saturday, December 2nd, 2023 from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., 1707 Forest Drive. So I'm not sure if anybody's going to be here for that one.
Neither of the names on my list are in the waiting room.
Okay. Okay. I think this was one that they just didn't appear for last time, maybe, right? And okay. Okay. All right. Thought maybe they would change the date and show up and want to do it this weekend, but we'll skip that one and we'll come back at the end to see if they show up. Next, we have an application for consumption of alcoholic beverages on city property, beer, wine, and liquor, including music for Visit Annapolis and Anne Arundel County for the VAAAC annual meeting scheduled for Tuesday, the 23rd of January, 2024 from 4 to 7 p.m. at the rear of 26 West Street, Annapolis 21401. Hi, Ms. Jenkins. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Could you just give us your full name and address for the record and then tell us a little bit about the event this year?
Yeah, absolutely. My address is 806 Sebastian Lane, Gambrills, Maryland, 21054. And yeah, oh, sorry, my dogs are gonna bark. Hold on one second.
That's all right.
Sorry about that. So yeah, it is the second year having it outdoors at that. It's the ellipse behind the visitor center. The visitors visit Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. That's the acronym VAAAC. So it's their annual tourism meeting reception. It's a private event. There will be about 450 folks there, mostly hospitality hospitality workers, hospitality business owners, elected officials, and other people in like the tourism community. We do have a Maryland state caterer who will be serving the alcohol. So Vintage Views will be serving the alcohol. There will be 4 people that will be under the age of 21 as working as interns to help with registration. But we will have either wolf security or discreet security, either of the two providing security. We haven't made that decision yet. It's just it's a 3-hour event, starts at 4, it's over by 7. Should be pretty easy.
Yeah, and you guys, you've been at it before. Did you have any issues last year?
No, everything was well last year. Yeah, we did it last year in the same location in a heated tent.
All right, same setup as before.
Exact same setup. Our permits in with Annapolis, and we have a resolution in for it to be like a sponsored event.
Okay, great. Any questions from the board?
No, I move we approve.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, your request is approved. Have fun, all right?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right, next is the West Annapolis Business Association application for consumption of alcoholic beverages on city property with beer, wine, and liquor for Miracle on Annapolis Street, which is scheduled for Tuesday, December 26, 2023 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Annapolis Street, Giddings and Melvin Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. And do we have anybody here on this one?
That was West Annapolis?
Yeah, this is West Annapolis.
Okay, I'm promoting Mary Ostrowski, who I don't have on my list, but she's raising her
Oh,
hand, so I'm
perfect.
assuming she's with them.
Great. Hey, Mary, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi there.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great, thanks. Can you just give us your full name and address for the record, then tell us about the miracle this year?
Yes, Mary Ostrowski, 1763 Meadow Hill Drive, Annapolis, Maryland, 21409. I represent the West Annapolis Business Association as the president, and we are partnering with Katzif Brothers and Budweiser, the Military Bowl Foundation, to bring the Budweiser Clydesdale horses for a parade to West Annapolis the 26th, the day before the Military Bowl itself at the stadium on the 27th. In the past, it has brought anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 people, sort of depending on the weather. It will be held from 12 to 4, and it's basically set up, layout, schedule, and everything just as it took place in 2021 and 2019 in West Annapolis. What more can I tell you?
No, you're spot on. It's the exact same, no issues in the past.
Yeah, no issues in the past. We have requested for police officers to be with us. The Valhalla Sailing Club has volunteered the last couple of, at least in 2021, to support with security. So it's a pretty good crew.
All right, and you're carding people who get a ticket to go get a beer, that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. There will be a couple of different spots for beverages, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, and any volunteers will be trained ahead of time. Yep.
All right. Any questions from the board?
If none, then it always seems to be a popular event, so we congratulate you on that.
Yeah, well, thank you. I hope you're able to come. It's pretty magical to see those horses. They are so giant, and it's pretty neat to see.
It's all about the horses.
Yeah, it really. It really
Mr.
is.
Chairman, I move we approve.
I
I'll
second.
second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Mary, your request is granted. Have fun, all right?
Thank you so much. Happy holidays, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. And last on our regular agenda tonight, we have a request for a special Class C one-day liquor license, including live music, to the Rotary Club of Annapolis Foundation for the Naptown Half Marathon, which is scheduled for for Saturday, December 16th, 2023, 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at 550 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis 21401. I think we got a couple people here for this one. Let's see, Mr. Steen.
There.
How are you? I see Miss Wolf. How are you?
Thank you.
And then it looks like you got one more person who's coming with us here. All right, Mr. Chance is here too. Mr. Chance, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
All right, great. Can we just get everybody's name and address for the record, and then tell us a little bit about this event?
Okay, Ann Wolf, 369 Berkshire Drive, Riva, Maryland, 21140.
Okay. Mr. Steen, can you give us your name and address for the record?
Sure thing. Brody Steen, and it's a 29191 Woodridge Drive, Easton, Maryland.
Okay, Mr. Chance.
Jason Chance, 405 West Bell Road, Unit 10 in Ridgely, Maryland.
All right, great. Tell us a little bit about the half marathon and what you're looking for.
Okay, Jason, did you want to lead the discussion? So just, I'm the treasurer with the Rotary Club of Annapolis. So I've applied for the permit because we have been asked and agreed to serve the beer after the half marathon on December 16th. And I know I haven't been before you before, but I know quite a few people from our club have. So it's a similar thing that we do periodically.
Okay.
So the half marathon, we're looking, it's a half marathon, 10K and 5K. My company produces events all over the country, and quite a few here in Maryland, including the Salisbury Marathon. We took over ownership of this event last year from Legendary Sports and Five Star. They didn't put in a liquor permit in time. So they sent everybody downtown to McGarvey's, and I believe like 25 people actually went there after the 1,000-person race. So we wanted to get ahead of that. This is a similar thing as to what we do for the Salisbury Marathon. We find a nonprofit, we find a local entity that we will actually give them a donation to pour the beer for us. All of my staff is actually TIPS-TAM certified. We in the parking lot, because the Naval Academy is such a large venue, we have metal fencing. We actually have about 6,000 feet of metal fencing. So we actually corral people into an area for beer consumption. And on the bibs, if you're a runner, you get a running bib with a number and everything. If as you register, if you're under the age of 21, we actually pull those tickets from your bib also, prior to you actually getting the bib, and then that way we're eliminating one more step that, you know, somebody could say, oh, my kid, I'll take those coupons, but that never works out. So yeah, we will have it contained in. We have an email into Wolf, but I told them I wanted to wait until this meeting to find out if we needed private security. Our entire command post is there on the property. So we have half of Annapolis City Police and Anne Arundel County Police there. So
Okay. All right. And I'm assuming you're carding anybody who looks to be under the age of 21. Okay.
we are,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Gotcha. All right. Does the board have any questions?
Just one thing. So if I were to go on and register and I wasn't
Yes, sir.
21, my
Correct.
bib would indicate that, and that's what you're going off of
Yes,
primarily.
sir. So what we have tear off tags on the
Correct,
bib.
yeah.
So when you come to check in and you say, I'm Ryan Chipwood, we see your ID, we give you the bib. If you are 19 years old, we pull the beer tags off of that
Okay,
bib.
so this isn't,
You
you're
can
not
get
just
access.
going off of what the person puts in their registration and they're basically self-reporting.
Correct.
You're
Correct.
age
And
verifying on that. Okay.
yes. Yep.
Just thank you for clarifying.
Yes, sir.
Well, I move we
Cindy.
accept.
Sorry, Ryan. Go ahead, Cindy.
Sorry, Ryan. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Can I please have from Mr. Steen and Mr. Chase complete addresses, including their zip codes, please?
Yes, ma'am. So mine is 405 West Bell, Belle Road, Unit 10. That's Ridgely, Ridgely, Maryland, 21660.
And then mine will be 29191 Woodridge, Woodridge Road 8. It'll be in Easton, Maryland, and then 21601 is the zip.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Go ahead. Mr. Chitwood, we're going to make a motion.
I move we approve.
A second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Your guys' request is
you.
granted.
Okay, can I just
Thank
ask,
you.
what's the procedure for obtaining the permit?
Give Cindy a call in the morning.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right.
Meeting.
Did anybody show up from
The American
the
Legion.
American Legion? Doesn't look like
No,
it.
they did not.
Okay. All right. Well, then we will move forward with our proposed closed session. Next item is a proposed closed session pursuant to General Provisions Article 3-305B7. This is a discussion with council related to the Open Meetings Act. So this time I'd entertain a motion to move pursuant to Annotated Code of Maryland, General Provisions Article 3-3507B 33 3-305B7 to go into a closed session.
Forward the motion.
All right. Is there a second?
I second.
All right. Madam Clerk, since this has to be unanimous, I would ask that you call roll, please.
Yes, sir. Chairman Prelli,
Aye.
Vice Chair Conger,
Aye.
Member Peterson, and Member Chitwood.
Aye. All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. The motion passes, so we can go into a closed session.